Hi, this is Ishtar. I thought I would take a little walk on my balcony here. I live in an apartment, so all I have is balcony space to grow in. And it's not that large, so I'm all containers. I wanted to just kind of go through and show my mom some of the stuff I'm growing. So I have some mint here and here, and some oregano here, parsley, which is having a rough time right now, but we'll get that worked out. This is a little bell pepper, a yellow bell pepper, and I put in a couple beans here too, hoping to get a little bit more bean production here. This is a cucumber, and so far this is my best producing cucumber plant. You can see a couple right here. I've already gotten a few off of this one, and there's a lot more starting to come in. This is a lemon basil. This is a lemon cucumber, which has not really started producing yet, but it's still growing. I honestly do not remember what I planted here, so I'm gonna have to wait another few days and see what the leaves look like. This is a little lime tree, a very little lime tree. The leaves are looking a little yellow, and I'm not sure why. I think I need to get some fertilizer. A purple basil. I have a lot of purple basil. A tricolor sage here. Here I planted some sunflowers and some beans, and I probably should have planted the sunflowers a week or two before the beans, because the idea was that the beans would run up the sunflowers, but they're growing more quickly. This is a white sage, California white sage, also known as Salvia apiana or bee sage. I'm growing it because I like to burn sage, but it was struggling, and there are still a few leaves that are a little yellowy. I transplanted, added more soil. It was a little root bound, so I'm hoping to save it. In this bed here, I have green onions, bunching onions, and a bunch of beans. But I also have a couple morning glories, and probably this wasn't the best place for me to grow the morning glories, but I'm loving how they're going up that thing. And I put some yarn here so that they'll go up this way, and give me a little bit of shade here. This here is melon, and I honestly don't remember what kind of melon it's supposed to be, and it hasn't yet produced any real fruits. There have been a few female flowers that died, so I'm not totally sure what kind of melon that is. This down here is an herb flower called hyssop. And it looks like all the flowers kind of stopped after I transplanted it out here. It was growing in a hydroponic system inside, and I transplanted it out here a couple weeks ago. But it has pretty little purple flowers. This is a blue Hubbard squash, and I bought it mostly because it looked interesting and different. So I'm not a big squash person. I'm trying to like it more, so I'm hoping that works out well. And I'm not crazy about how the bunching onions are doing here, so I'm starting to add bunching onions into some of my other pots. So I'm hoping to pull these out and put something else in here. Now, last year I had carrots in here, and it looks like there's still a carrot in there. And there's a couple radishes, but it's really too hot for radishes right now, so I'm mostly just getting greens on that. This is a little tiny bee sage. Bee balm. No, that is not the bee balm. That is the peppermint. That's the bee balm. And more purple basil. Some catnip, lemongrass. I have just planted a few seeds here, and I think these are, the front two are broccoli, and the back one is a purple broccoli. So that's going to be a purple broccoli. I've grown broccoli up here before, and it does fairly well, but so far I've only gotten small heads. These are some onions, and they're not really bulbing. They should be bulbing by now. So I might just end up having to pick them the way they are. But I cut back the stems, hoping to force them to bulb. This is a lavender who is just not doing well in this pot. Not sure what's going on. I've had it for over a year and it was doing well, and now it just is kind of failing. This here is a stackable planter called a green stalk. It has 5 tiers. I'm growing a lot of cucumbers on this. A lot of cucumbers. There are also some strawberries in there, and this is a borage, but it mostly has a lot of cucumbers. And I am discovering that things on the bottom level don't seem to get enough sun, but these cucumbers are starting to run out of places to go. I might have to try to get a couple of longer stakes in here so that it doesn't drag on the ground, because I like to turn this every couple of days so that everything gets equal sun. Let's see. This is a baby lavender that I just transplanted out of the indoor hydroponic system. This is a drought-tolerant lavender. I don't find the scent as strong on this, but the bees and the hummingbirds really love it. And I have some chives that I had cut back pretty severely at one point. That is Herba Buena. It's a very mild mint. And I just started some spinach. It's really too hot for spinach, but it's pretty shaded back in this area. So I'm hoping that I'll get some going before it gets cool. And that's another lavender. It's not a good place for it. I gotta find another place for it. And some more chives. And this is a lovely rosemary. It's mostly doing well, but I noticed right now there's a little bit of dying back on that. And down here is a lemon balm, which is also in the mint family. And more chives. I have both garlic chives and onion chives, and I have 2 pots of each. And this here is really struggling. It is a tea plant, Camellia sinensis. I'm not sure if that pronunciation is correct, but it is a tea plant, and I think it's just getting too much sun and that it's too dry here for it, because it is a more tropical plant. This here, I have a couple of hanging baskets, and that's nasturtiums up there, and they do pretty well up there, except right now I seem to have some kind of bug infestation. I've seen both spider mites and aphids, and I'm not sure what is affecting the nasturtiums up there. But that's another bee balm. And here I have cornflower, also known as bachelor buttons. And I have another little morning glory here, but this is growing much slower than the one in the other pot. And some catnip, and it's probably because the roots on the catnip is crowding everything else out here. I'm about ready to cut back the catnip a bit. And I also have petunias there. So hopefully you didn't see too much of my. This is what you can do with a balcony garden. This right here has nothing in it yet. I just bought it. I just mounted it today. It is similar to Smart Pots. It's a felt material here, which is supposed to allow for a lot of good aeration. So I'm planning on getting some lettuces in here in a couple weeks. And these are similar, and they're just a bigger pocket. And I'm going to do some greens and some bok choy in these in a couple weeks. All right, so that's my garden.